Everyone remembers the fall, the way Mufasa's body dropped into the canyon below, swallowed by dust and betrayal.
Scar! Brother, help me!
Long live the king.
But not everyone remembers what came before. Before the roar, before the hyenas, before the treachery that made Scar a name feared across generations, there was something quieter, sadder, more human.
Why, if it isn't my big brother descending from on high to mingle with the commoners?
A story of two brothers and one unforgivable silence. This is why Mufasa never saved Scar, and why maybe he never even tried. Taka, that was Scar's name before the bitterness, before the fire.
Life's not fair, is it? You see, I shall never be king.
If you dig into the deeper Lion King lore especially, the Lion Guard, the rise of Scar, you'll find this backstory tucked away like a buried bone. Taka, the younger prince, ambitious, clever, quick to speak, and desperate to prove himself. And if that name sounds cruel, it's because it is. Taka in Swahili doesn't just mean to want. In some interpretations, it means garbage, waste. Let that sink in. You give your first son the name Mufasa, a name that literally means king. And your second son? Taka. A Redditor once posted, "You don't name your kid Taka unless you've already decided what he's worth." And it isn't much. That comment got over 3,000 upvotes because fans felt it deeply. Even in the official lore, Taka's name changes after a failed attempt to humiliate Mufasa. An accident with a snake leaves him scarred forever.
That's how I got my scar when I led the guard.
And from that day forward, he becomes the name he was never meant to have, Scar. I spent hours scrolling through Lion King Facebook groups like Circle of Life Chronicles and Pride Rock Memories, and the most repeated question wasn't about who was stronger or who was more clever. It was this: why didn't Mufasa stop this from happening? One post read, "He was strong enough to lead a kingdom, but not strong enough to love his own brother." Another one that broke me said, Mufasa was everything to Simba.
We're pals, right?
Right.
And we'll always be together, right?
But who was Mufasa to Scar? A jailer, a rival, or just another lion who wouldn't listen? And that's the wound, not the one on Scar's face, the one in his soul. Because somewhere along the way, Mufasa stopped seeing a brother. He started seeing a problem.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no, Mufasa. Perhaps you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
Temper. I wouldn't dream of challenging you.
Mufasa is often framed as flawless, noble, the lion we should all look up to.
When we die, our bodies become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. And so, we are all connected in the great circle of life.
But if you look closely, really closely, you'll see the cracks. Because while he was a just ruler, he wasn't a perfect brother. He ruled with strength, with wisdom, with grace. But when Scar began to unravel, Mufasa didn't kneel beside him. He didn't ask what was wrong. He didn't say, "You matter." He said, "You're dangerous." And maybe that's where the story was already lost.
Well, I was first in line until the little hairball was born.
That hairball is my son and your future king.
The Lion Guard gives us something haunting, something the original movie never dared to show. Scar wasn't always evil. He was the leader of the original Lion Guard, gifted with the roar of the elders, trusted by the spirits of kings past. And then he used it in anger, in vengeance, in desperation, and the roar vanished.
My first plot for vengeance was spoiled when I lost the roar.
One Reddit fan theory calls it the echo of rejection. It argues that the roar isn't just a power, it's a reflection of the lion's soul. Scar didn't lose the roar because he was evil. He lost it because he was alone. Because no one, not even Mufasa, stood beside him when he started slipping.
Well, as far as brains go, I got the lion's share, but when it comes to brute strength, I'm afraid I'm at the shallow end of the gene pool.
The father figure we all wish we had. But now, I look at him and I see something else. I see a lion who meant well, who led well, but who missed something right in front of him. He missed the look in his brother's eyes. He missed the way Scar always stood in the shadows. He missed the small, desperate ways Scar still tried to be part of the Pride, even after being pushed aside again and again. Now, some fans push back on this. There's a popular Facebook comment that says, "It's not Mufasa's job to fix Scar. Scar made his choices. He let jealousy win."
For me, it is a deep, personal loss. So it is with a heavy heart that I assume the throne. Yet out of the ashes of this tragedy, we shall rise to greet the dawning of a new era, in which lion and hyena come together.
And they're right. Scar did make choices, terrible ones. He plotted his brother's death. He corrupted the circle of life. He let hatred burn brighter than love. But that's not the point. The point is, what if someone had reached him before all that? What if someone had told him, "You don't need the roar. You don't need the crown. You're enough, just as you are"? Would we even have a villain? Would Pride Rock have ever fallen? Instead, Scar was left with his bitterness, his jealousy, his silence, and Mufasa, he let it happen. Maybe not with cruelty, maybe not even with intention, but through neglect.
I'm here to announce that King Mufasa's on his way. So you'd better have a good excuse for missing the ceremony this morning.
Sarabi and I didn't see you at the presentation of Simba.
That was today? Oh, I feel simply awful. Must have slipped my mind.
And when the moment came when Mufasa looked up at his brother from the cliff's edge, holding on to life, he didn't beg, he didn't scream, he didn't say, "Please." He just said, "Brother, help me." But it was too late, because help never came when it mattered most.
Scar! Brother, help me!
Long live the king.
So the real tragedy of The Lion King isn't just a fall from a cliff, it's the fall that happened long before, the fall of two brothers who could have ruled together.
We have only one choice. We must leave Pride Rock.
We're not going anywhere.
Then you have sentenced us to death.
Then so be it.
You can't do that.
I am the king. I can do whatever I want.
If you were half the King Mufasa was, you
I'm
would
10 times the king Mufasa was.
But chose silence instead. In part 2, we'll explore what Mufasa really believed about destiny and why he may have allowed Scar to become the villain the Pride Lands needed him to be.
Great idea! Who needs a king? No king, no king, la 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 la.
Idiots! There will be a king.
Hey, but you said
I will be king. Stick with me, and you'll never go hungry again.
Because what if the king of the past chose his own legacy over saving his brother, and the consequences, they're still echoing across the stars?